Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Emily, and you're probably wondering why I'm wearing glasses, and that is because I cried yesterday and my eyes are kind of swollen, and I don't like showing my swollen eyes, but the show must go on, so... Today we're just going to talk about my experience of Zoom University. Now I've been quarantined at home for 2 months now. Obviously, I feel super lucky to be able to have like a really good environment at home. Like, my parents are super loving, and I have a sister that I get along with really well, so I'm not exactly bored at home, and I have my own private space to do work, learn, chill, relax, and all that stuff. But still, I hate Zoom University. I want to go back to school. I want to see people. I want my own independence of like feeling like I'm taking care of myself in my own apartment. I want to go to events. I want to go to club meetings. I want to go to parties. I want to hang out with people. I want to go picnic, and I want to raise my hand in class and be able to sit in the front row of my classroom. And yeah, these are all the things that I want to do, but Zoom University has deprived me of that. And I'm sitting here complaining, I know, but I am not advocating that you should go outside and not social distance, because the only way that we can return to school ASAP is if we social distance and quarantine ourselves, continue to follow shelter in place. So yeah, but today let's just talk about my entire experience starting from the first day when school is canceled. And I just feel like it is always good to talk about this, because who knows, maybe a few years down the line, when it's like 2050, students in the classroom will be studying the Gen Z reaction to the pandemic or something, or like how social media people reacted to the pandemic. So if you're watching this in 2050, hello, I hope you're not dealing with the pandemic anymore. Yeah, because it sucks, clearly. Okay, now let's continue on with the regular programming. So I need to pull up my laptop. I sound a little angry, do I? That's probably because I am. All right. So I made this doc to plan out this video, and basically wrote a little brief timeline of what happened. March 3rd was the day that the first case of coronavirus appeared in the city of Berkeley. Not the school Berkeley, but the city of Berkeley. And I remember I was freaking out, and I was like, wow, it's here. It really is here. It's like close to me. But I was honestly really scared to wear a mask to school because I feel like no one else is doing it. And there's this plaza at my school where people set up booths to pass out flyers and like, you know, promote their clubs or whatever. And when I was wearing a mask, no one wanted to talk to me because they probably think I have the virus, which I think is a pretty interesting thing, because I feel like it's just a huge cultural difference between China and the US, or even just Asian countries and Western countries, because in Asia it's like so common to wear a mask. You can wear a mask even if there's not a pandemic and people think it's completely fine, but here if you wear a mask, you're automatically like, oh my god, you're sick. It was like stressful to wear a mask, and I thought Berkeley would be a pretty safe environment, but I actually have friends who told me about the racist things that people said to them for wearing a mask. Obviously, there are so many other cases of racist attacks as the coronavirus situation escalate, and it's just really sad to hear that. And I wonder what's gonna happen, because I feel like in the past few years I thought, oh my god, this is a time when like Asian Americans are finally being seen and heard, while like everything's going well. Like, we have all these movies like Crazy Rich Asians, The Farewell, and I know we still have a long way to go, but I really thought that we were going somewhere, especially when Parasite won Best Picture at the Oscars. You have no idea how happy I was. But I guess 2020 really just peaked the moment that Bong Joon-ho went up that stage and made his Oscar acceptance speech, because everything since then has been downhill. And then things started getting a little bit more real. Finally, on the day of March 9th, I clearly remember I was in my business ethics class, and our teacher had a speaker come in that day, and it's usually like a no electronics policy class, but I could tell that everyone was on their phone, and there was like some commotion in the crowd because we all just got the email or like the notification that school will be canceled until spring break. And right after class ended, our professor was like, "See you guys next week." And then we're all like, "School is canceled." And yeah, school being canceled seemed fun in the beginning. It was like, oh, vacation time. I just get to chill in my room all day and not do anything.
Hello， 我现在要开始我的第一节 online 的课，但是我发现在家里上课有一个好处就是真的省了很多时间。我可以做饭、吃饭，一直吃到 meeting 开始前1分钟，不用像平时上课要提前15分钟赶着出门，所以这点来说还是挺好的。
And wow, I was naive. I was so naive. I mean, it was like all fun and games for like the first 2 days, but then it just got not fun.
My learning quality just went down so much, and it's hard to have motivation to do things when you don't have to leave your bedroom at all. And having access to social media doesn't help at all because every morning I turn on my phone, I just see so many notifications about new cases, about things being canceled, about this person getting coronavirus. Tom Hanks freaking got coronavirus. So I just want to go home.
On March 13th, it was my friend's 21st birthday, and obviously we couldn't do any huge celebration anymore, and that was before the shelter-in-place order was in place. And we went to this like cute brunch place in Berkeley, and we were just like, you know, talking about coronavirus, blah blah blah. Like during that week, every person I see, I'm just like, "Oh, are you worried about the virus? Are you going home? Like, what are your plans? Blah, 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 blah." Like, that's all we talked about. So on that day, we were just sitting there in the restaurant, and they had a huge TV screen in the back. And I just remember clearly feeling like I'm in an apocalypse, because on the screen, it was literally Trump's face declaring a national emergency. And I just felt like I was in one of those movies, like 2012, where it's like the world is ending and we're in the calm before the storm and the streets are all empty, but you know the leaves are falling, and then you hear a rumble, and that's when the tsunami hits. Like, that's what it felt like, except it's coronavirus. And as we were eating brunch, we also got an email saying that school is gonna be canceled for the rest of the semester. So I went home, and then begins my quarantine life. All right, so now let's kind of like reflect on this experience. I did all the classic things that people in quarantine do, like, you know, learning the savage dance. I'm a savage, yeah. Oh, my sister also bought a ukulele, and so I tried to learn it, but I like learned it for 2 days and I just didn't continue with it. But then I can tell that my sanity is slowly slipping away when I go through my photo albums. Let me show you some examples. Yeah, I'm not exactly proud of that moment. And I guess the second thing that I wanted to highlight is just struggling with mental health. And I just feel like being at home made me feel very idle. And I feel purposeless a lot of the times. There's not much to look forward to anymore, and I kind of lose sense of myself and my independence and my identity. But I think the biggest thing is just feeling very disconnected from my friends. During my days of overthinking at home, I realized that seeing friends at school has somehow become a way of validating my self-worth. It's kind of weird to think about it that way, but I think it is true to some extent. So basically, when you see your friends at school and you talk to them, you see them smile, you see them happy, it's like an affirmation that you are a worthy friend, that you're someone interesting to be around with, and that you are likable. But when you're at home, you don't have that validation anymore, and it's just like you're just by yourself, and it's just it's frustrating. And I think another big thing is that there are no distractions for me anymore. I think when I'm at school, if I'm feeling down or sad, it is really easy, or relatively easy, to find a solution to it. Like if my friends are saying, "Oh, let's like go out tonight, or let's go hang out, do something together, then me spending time outside with people, it could be like an easy fix to my problem because I just take my mind off of things. But now that my life has become so unstructured, I just feel super aimless and feel like I'm no longer creating value. I feel like that is pretty soul crushing because you're just like here and you just feel, I don't know what this is, but you just feel really like, it's almost like you're just like a shell. Yeah, I just feel like a shell. And another topic I want to talk about is if Zoom will become the future for work, for school, for everything. Not necessarily Zoom, because I know all these big tech companies like Google and Facebook, they're all making their own versions of Zoom. So we'll see if Zoom can survive this. I guess one of the first things I realized the problem with a Zoom education is that it really just exposes the inequality behind education. So there's this podcast called The Daily, which is by the New York Times. They published an episode recently where they talked about bursting the college bubble. Basically, after quarantine started, this student at a university could not finish her thesis. Like, she actually just could not do it because I think her parents own like a small taco stand or something, and they're just really struggling financially, and she has to go help out with them, and she just doesn't have the mental capacity to finish up her coursework on time. And it was really stressful to her, and she sent an email to her professor explaining her situation and just said that she just cannot finish it. And I think it was a moment of revelation for the professor, because the professor didn't realize that, you know, sending people home actually puts people at very different levels of playing field, because when you're at university, obviously it is not equal, but at least you are sharing the same dining hall, you live in similar dorms, you have access to the same classrooms, libraries, and all that stuff. But when you're sent back home, you just have what your home has given you, what your family has given you, and the learning environment, it just becomes drastically different. And so I really wonder how sustainable that is. I mean, I think online education is a really great way to democratize education, and I really hope that one day we will be in a world where people can have access to world-class education at these really great institutions. But right now it's definitely not possible because college tuition is super expensive, and right now, given the fact that we are doing classes online, I think it gives a lot of people less incentive to want to pay for this tuition to go to class, because it's not like you have the benefit of having access to these facilities at the school. And also just that if you're just taking an online class, there's so many more cheaper options to do it. And even if after the pandemic is over, if classes are still online, I guess you can have like in-person events for your clubs or like friends or whatever, but is it really worth to pay that much tuition and pay really expensive rent in college towns to just be able to hang out with your friends in person? Like, I feel like that is just not like financially smart for a lot of families or students. Like, that is just something to think about, whether Zoom education is truly, you know, accessible. And beyond education, obviously working from home is also another big thing that people are talking about right now. A lot of big tech companies such as Facebook already said that their employees can work from home forever because it saves a lot of commute time. You know, it's supposed to be good for the environment, and employees will have the option of moving to cheaper areas to live in. But there is a catch. I think Mark Zuckerberg said that their salary will be adjusted based on where they live. So if they live in a cheaper state or something, they probably get paid less. So I don't know how that's gonna turn out. Like, I wonder if working from home will also be the future of how these companies operate, because it does save a lot of money for them, especially if they don't have to rent out crazy expensive buildings in big cities like New York or SF. And they can recruit from all over the world and hire whoever they want, like get the cheapest labor. And there's definitely a lot more competition for people who are trying to get into these companies now, because they would be competing with people from all over the world as well. Obviously, I'm not working full-time right now, so I can't really speak to what the work from home experience is like, but I can imagine it's still drastically different from going to an office and having face-to-face interactions with people. Maybe a few years down the line, we will just all be online and not even complaining about it because we're used to it. Alright, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Like I said, YouTube has been the one thing that makes me happy during this time. So yeah, thank you so much, and I am thinking about you. I hope you're doing well, and I will see you in my next video. Bye! Please click here to subscribe, and then click here to watch my other awesome videos. We're just gonna sit for like maybe 15 seconds. Okay.